Hello guys, we're back with another match reaction. It's been a very long time. I don't know when I uploaded my last video, but it's going to be a kind of a regular way of me introducing myself in all my videos. It's been a very long time, and it's the 16th of July as I record this. So by the time this comes out, hopefully this comes out before the World Cup final, but by the time of recording, we just finished the England versus Argentina game. This is basically a preview for the finals. My take on the finals and my opinion on the England versus Argentina game and the France versus Spain match that happened a day before. So let's get to it. Let's talk about the first game that happened last night, which is Argentina versus Spain. Like, what a match! Like, honestly, what a match! I think it was a very good match. I think it was peak football. That's how we say peak cinema. I think this was peak football because I think, as you can see, the attacking momentum. I think first half was a bit mid from both the teams. I think there was a lot more action in terms of physical altercations rather than football in the first half. Nothing much happened. There was like a lot of fighting, a lot of pushing, a lot of people gathering. First half was May, but second half, I mean, as soon as England scored, I thought the game was over because Argentina looked miles off it compared to in the first half, and I didn't expect them to kind of play the way they played in the second half. But as soon as England scored, I was like, yeah, this game is over. But then what England did after they scored was the main reason why they lost because after they scored, I don't know why was why was this instruction just given out to the players? Just sit back and defend because I didn't watch the Cape Verde game, but I watched the Egypt game, and it was pretty much similar to that. As soon as Egypt scored, they all sat in a low block. Everybody was behind, defend clear. But the difference between Egypt and England was the the few chances that Egypt got, they kind of took it well. Obviously, you had that one disallowed goal. You had the other goal which one of them scored. So Egypt took their chances. England, on the other hand, just sat back and just invited Argentina into their half. And if the Egypt game is something you can go by, this team they don't need 10 15 chances. You give them two chances in a very high pressure situation, they're converted, and that's exactly what happened. I feel like you know as England just kind of soaked in the pressure, Argentina just got more momentum out of it. I think all their players kind of started clicking again. They looked like miles better compared to the first half. And there's so many crosses being spammed. They're literally spamming crosses. And there were some few chances that they couldn't convert. But England couldn't do anything. Like, even though their plan was to come defend, even that wasn't like done in a very high standard because a lot of crosses were going by. It's Argentina was initially unlucky because they couldn't connect any of those crosses, but as soon as that Enzo goal went in, I think it was pretty much wraps because I think if you look England's player, like any of the players as a whole, I don't think anyone played that well. I think a lot of eyeballs were at Jude Bellingham and Harry Kane to do something. I think both of them were just ghosted in the entire game. I feel like obviously Gordon had that goal. That's pretty much it. After that, I think none of them did anything. And even the subs as well. I think, you know, bringing in O'Reilly, Damburn, Konza, sorry, Damburn was injured. Yeah, Rashford, Ivan Tony, none of them did anything. I feel like, even after conceding one goal, you could have at least played for the draw, played a bit more brave, taken a bit more risk, just taken the game to Argentina, but and just two, I think this is like a proper tactical, outclass, outclass tactically. I think there's such a just say negative football because neither was there like any attacking intent. The whole even the point of defending as well, they didn't do it really well. Argentina, I'll be very honest. I think it was a complete Messi show. I think first half you could see him just taking on 2 3 players, and this is not even like your prime Messi. I think this is like a 39-year-old Messi. So he's still doing things that I don't think another 39-year footballer can do, and doing it in a very high level. And, you know, talking about the second goal as well, I think it was quite, you know, I think it was insulting to England because Lautaro Martinez is not the tallest of tall players in the squad. He's quite short compared to their average England defender and still managed to get a head in, which is quite sad. And yeah, I think Argentina rightfully deserve to be in the final. I think, yes, they're the most hated team in the tournament. Yes, each time they win, until today, I feel like there's always either there's some comments and saying it's rigged or they're cheated or referees prefer Argentinian players. I feel like this match kind of ended all those conversations. I feel like the ref was a bit lenient initially, but eventually I think he was showing cards for all the right reasons. So yeah, I have nothing much to say. I think this game, you know, I think you just feel bad for England because yes, they had a good World Cup. I think you know yeah. I mean, with England, it's always the case. You reach a semi-final at best or a quarter-final, but then after that, you lose games not because you played well. You lose games because you're just outclassed tactically. I think. Yeah, this is still the third place match to go for England. I don't know how seriously they're going to take it, but obviously for Argentina, I think it's kind of history making, a potential history making day on the 19th because I think Brazil is the only team that won back to back finals. So Argentina are on the verge of creating history. So yeah, I think this is all I want to talk about the game. I think nothing else really. I think Scaloni as well. I feel like if you look him compared to the Egypt game and this game, I think he looked more relieved. I mean, more confident. Certainly after a point, I feel like till date, I think the toughest game that Argentina played was against Egypt. I think Cape Verde as well. I don't think England gave Argentina any kind of a proper competition after a point. I think, uh, yeah, I think it was just a recipe for disaster and this kind of you know kind of just stunk up the place. So yeah, and yeah, let's go to France versus Spain, which happened a day before. Another tactical outclass, tactical outclass. How do you say it? I don't know. By the Spanish coach. How do you pronounce his name? Luis de Fuente. Yeah, completely outclassed Didier Deschamps. I think this game as well was hugely one-sided. The England match, at least the first half, you could see England was a little bit at least giving some level of competition to Argentina. Both of them were giving some level of competition to each other. I think this game is a complete, just a one-sided game because as you can see from the ratings itself, I think none of them played really well. And I don't want to talk about the France squad because none of them did anything. Because I feel like the only thing I could say about the match is that the first penalty that Oyarzabal scored, I think was a bit harsh, at least in my POV, because Dine didn't see Yamal coming, and if you could see it, the way Yamal was running as well, he was just doing it to get a foul. So his way of running, his body positioning, just before getting kicked, I feel like he was just trying his best to win a foul, and he won a foul. So I think a bit harsh on Digne. I think after that his confidence completely went. He looked so bad because he couldn't defend Yamal. He couldn't do anything. Yamal, one of the best 1v1 dribblers in the game right now, and Dean had nothing again, nothing for him. I think he was pretty much a sitting duck in that French defense. I feel like nobody else in particular. I feel like yeah, I think Saliba went out injured in the first half. I think where did he go? So yeah, around first half. Then you had Lacroix, didn't do nothing much. I'll be very honest. Olise was completely shut down. I think this Spanish defense. I mean, fair play to everyone. I feel like Porro had a great game. Cucurella had a very good game, and Kubasi as well. I think these two played really well. I think Unai Simon as well did have a good game. Kept a clean sheet, obviously, but I'm still kind of having my doubts against Unai Simon. Might be quite controversial. I think sometimes his sweeper keeper gimmick just goes out of hand. I feel like obviously there was that shot from Doué that he saved, but sometimes he gets too forward, too away from his box. I think anyone who has a very smart IQ, I don't think he can do that against Argentina. I don't think he can do all this sweeper keeper gimmick against Messi. I think you give him a small space and a little bit time, I think he can score from anywhere. So I have my doubts against Unai Simon. Other than that, his shot stopping was good. Uh, Coming into the midfield, Rodri had a great game. Pretty much won more duels than the entire French midfield. And yeah, I think Bayern played well. Yamal didn't have anything to do. I'll be very honest. I think, uh, the French, they didn't give any competition. I feel like this match was completely one-sided. And talking about the subs as well, pretty much came towards the end. 74th, 78th. I think by that time, the game was pretty much over, and I felt it was, for the French, it was quite embarrassing because throughout the tournament they just dominated all their oppositions, and for this Spanish squad to just play back passes, and you could see after a point that these people just didn't care, and even the French players as well, since even after a point they realized they couldn't do anything. Even the subs that they brought on, uh, you know, excluding Lecqua, I think Manu Kone tried to cover ground, didn't do anything. Desiree Doué was, I mean, this rating shows 7.0. I think it's okay, but didn't deserve 7.0 according to me. Lucas Hernandez kind of came on late. By the time it was pretty much 2-2, and Cherki showed some level of intent, but it was too little too late. I think this defense is completely rock solid. That's one reason why I'm so excited for the final. I think you have Argentina on one side, who, going by any of the games, they can look absolutely clueless in the first half, but you give them a small chance, they'll take the most of it. I think this Argentina squad always reminds me of that Madrid winning squad. I think it's in 20. Not 20. I think it's 22. I think 22. Yeah, I think 23. I think, yeah, 23 Madrid squad, where they had this crazy run of this winning games after 90 minutes. I think this Argentina squad just gives me that kind of a similar vibe in terms of winning games after 80 minutes. If you can see all the games, I think, let's just look at Argentina. All the games from Cape Verde. Cape Verde, okay, my laptop, yeah. You could see again scored the winner. Yeah, scored the winner at 111th minute, which is after extra time. Yeah, the Egypt game, which was done under 90 minutes, but very late into the second half. Then you had the Switzerland game, which obviously went into extra time, which the two goals came after the second extra time. Then obviously, I think after Switzerland, I think they played obviously out yesterday. Pretty much till 80th minute, England looked pretty comfortable, but after that, just completely kind of looked all over the place. So this squad always gives me that kind of vibe where the game isn't over until it's over. I think great props to Scaloni as well. I think he deserves everything that's coming in his way. And these players as well. I feel like if you look at the Spanish squad and the Argentinian squad, all the players have that feeling of they're playing for the badge. I'm not saying the French doesn't have that feeling. I think until they played Spain, I think every opponent they kind of swept the floor with. I think this was their real competition for the first time in this entire World Cup. I don't think even Norway gave that much of a headache to this French squad, even though they kind of had a great tournament for, according to Norway standards. I think it's the first World Cup, if I'm not wrong, for Norway, and for them to reach the quarters, I think it's a great thing. But until they played Spain, I think you had that feeling within France that they're playing it for the squad, they're playing it for the Champs. But yeah, I think both these teams have incredible kind of passion in terms of they're playing it for the badge. They feel like they have a name. They want to win this World Cup. That they have that bite. So it's going to be a fun final. Obviously, looking forward to the third place game as well. I don't know how kind of seriously are both the teams going to take it, but definitely going to watch both those games, and hopefully, hopefully, fingers crossed, you will get to see another video after the finals. Hopefully, this video gets uploaded before the final. But yeah, that's my opinions for this game. I think, yeah, can't wait for the finals, and yeah, see you soon.